Hey everybody, it's Syntax. Sorry for being so messed up. I tried StreamYards. God help me, I tried, and everything was a disaster. It would not link up to this channel. It linked up with a completely other channel. Ugh, God help me. It's got me pissed off. Hopefully everybody can swing back over towards this one and we can get things up and running correctly because nothing worked over there. Something was just seriously wrong. I don't know why. It just wouldn't do what I needed it to do. So Erica, Demon, hey, how you doing? Thank you for coming back. Thank you for actually switching over to the correct channel. I appreciate that, guys, very, very much. I appreciate you being here, just like I appreciate you, bad motherfuckers, being here every single week. I appreciate that very much. The camera quality got a lot better. Well, that's interesting. I'm gonna have to play with it, guys. I only had about an hour or two to fuck around with StreamYards today to try and actually get it to work. And my apologies, guys. That sucked. I could get the visuals out, but everything else was just, yeah. Is the sound quality better over here too? That's you guys gonna have to know. Okay, back to where I was. When we left them, we were talking about please call off the humans. And yeah, speaking of sound, okay, sound same. I was trying to do the sound effects. I haven't got a full out library, guys, so I'm trying to do what I can with what I got and what I can find. Unfortunately, I'm not good at creating them at all. I don't have the equipment to. Next week, probably Monday or Tuesday, I'm going to be going out and getting the rest of the equipment I need for this Roadcaster I got sent to me. And we'll get that going. And hopefully the audio will actually become better because this microphone I got now is a simple USB microphone. It's just, it doesn't have the quality that's needed. It is what it is. But one of the things I want to use is the voice changer shit because honestly, I can't do voices. And if you guys heard me hacking, you'd be like, what the hell is wrong with him? Get him to the hospital. Okay, on on Call Off the Humans, guys, it wasn't StarCraft, okay? It may have seemed like that, but it wasn't StarCraft. Did I hint at it? Yeah, I did, okay? The mutated girl there, she wasn't, well, I guess you could say she was a hybrid. She wasn't fully Kerrigan. She was close, but she wasn't there. She didn't have the dreadlocks or anything. She had just this weird carapace for most of her body or part of her body. And she just had extra appendages, probably for the looks. And I look over and I see Erica. Let me get my pen so I write this down. Yeah, just like that. Erica just sent me a $10 super chat. She says, hello, thank you for everything. The camera is better and the sound is about the same. Thank you for everything. Well, thank you for being here and thank you for the super chat, Erica. I very much appreciate it, you redheaded craziness. And we all know that there's a certain stuff that goes on with redheads. So, yeah, anyways. And I don't mean anything off. I just mean usually you guys are ready to put up the dukes anytime you want. So, but yeah, it was not meant to be StarCraft, guys. It's similar, and what is this? It was working like 2 minutes ago. For some reason, my Steam Deck doesn't want to go. Ah, damn it! Here I am stabbing myself. This sound screwed up my day as God, everybody. Okay, SS Demon with $10.
Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
But something is right because SS Demon sent a $10 super, I'm guessing, sticker. And there's one from MTF Guard. And you're actually not late. You're actually right on time, Guard. Reason being is because I tried StreamYards and it was a complete disaster. Complete and total what the fuck. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I'm obviously doing something wrong, but I will do what I can to fix it. It's going to take some time. But it is what it is. We're back. We're here. Thank you, Guard, Demon, Erica. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. And back into the story. What is going? Wow, nothing's going right today. It's just messed up. All right. Somebody in the comment section, you got it right. Don't try to just order someone around unless you have the authority to do so. Even then, they might tell you to something off. And
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
no, wait. Something is right with a $10 to $50 super chat from the sir. How you doing, sir? I think everybody wants to know how you're doing. Please put in the comment section how you're feeling today. And if everything's feeling better, feeling worse, everybody wants to know because actually everybody here cares. As we used to say in the service, we give a shit. Although if somebody just kind of gave me a shit, I think I'd probably grab it and shove it in their face. But, you know, it is what it is. Or maybe I'll do a Terrence Pop and throw it in a Pringles can and mail it to somebody. So thank you so much, sir. And thank you all for being here. Very, 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 very much appreciated. And speaking of sound effects, having an issue, guys, I was having trouble actually getting some that fit right too. That was my major issue with sound effects. But you guys are right. That was exactly what it was in the story. Do not try to simply order somebody, especially when they obviously are a bit more of a badass than you. It's like that whole scene in that god awful Pixel movie where the fat guy is yelling at this like 6'2", just built like a brick shit house, freaking snorting creatine for breakfast, freaking ranger or something. And I'm just like, yeah, this guy's not going to listen to you. If it wasn't for his professionalism, he would have probably ripped your ass off and shoved up your ass. Then he would have got nasty. Somebody brought up the fact that the hybrid they'd probably be trying to figure out how to fix her to not be a hybrid anymore, and how her father would be trying to figure it out. Of course, that'd be the first thing. But I'm not writing an entire. God damn. I'm not trying to write the entire book. If I was going to actually put this into a book format, all by it is now, if I was to put all the extra stuff with all the different characters in it and all the conversations, it'd take me over a year just to get everything done. Because we still got several more chapters to get through. All right. Somebody else brought up in the comments section that evacuating a planet within that timeline would be impossible. With our current state of technology, yes, you are absolutely correct. But when you're talking about an interstellar civilization, evacuating a planet would be about the same as evacuating a state. You can evacuate a place like Germany in about 2 weeks. You can evacuate something. You could almost evacuate Russia in a month's time. You get people moving. Trust me, they'll get the fuck out of there. Especially when you say, hey, free plane ticket. And anyone that's there is going to get shot. So move it. But you're right. With our current tech, no, they wouldn't be able to do that. Although I did have to laugh at you guys putting the fact that the hybrids spoke French and that was the surrender language. I've worked with French Foreign Legion guys. There's not a surrender in those guys. Oh, we did some spar and they twisted my arm in ways that still hurts to think about it. And then I got up. I was like, can you teach me how to do that? Like, yes, I could. And then he walked me through the entire thing. I was like, oh, so that's what that is. And yes, American, you get it. And of course, I'm screwing up the accent, something fierce. But it is the same thing as most special operations forces. They're not assholes. They realize that people don't know what they know, so they work with you. And they'll also ask you something they don't know, so they know. No kidding, right? This is where I kind of wish I had the StreamYard sync to bring up no shit Sherlock. I actually had one of those waiting. So, but let's see. Down to the next comment. Somebody said, The only thing worse than a sneak attack is betrayal, or what's worse. The thing is, it can be both. Anybody who's been in a relationship that ended in a very bad way, as in they went behind your back, knows exactly what I'm talking about. That is a sneak attack, and that is an absolute fucking betrayal. And yeah, um, you want to see how betrayal will tear apart a man? Look up, what is it, Samurai X Trust and Betrayal, an old anime movie where the betrayal you see cuts real deep and it fucks him up real bad. But it can also give you resolve after a while. It'll fuck you up, but once you come through that, you're clear. Sorry, I had a lot of salt with dinner. I'm thirsty. All right. I do have to put this in perspective, guys. When it came down to the planet that the insectoids were using to harvest genetic material by certain means, schnick, schnick, or should I say snoo snoo, when I actually wrote up the name Herodotus 2, that's straight off Battletech, for those that didn't know. And in BattleTech, there is a planet that is known as a pleasure planet, and that's the one it's called. I figured I needed one, and I didn't want to use the one off the Trekkie Trek. I had a choice between the two. I chose BattleTech. But yes, there's any time there you're going to have a multi-world story, you're going to have one colony or one planet that's dedicated to people getting off. I don't mean off world. I don't mean off planet. I just mean getting off. I mean, seriously, the whole planet's got to smell like sweat and bad decisions. I mean, yeah, seriously. Although it probably does smell like something else, a lot of bleach just to sanitize the place. All right. Now those were the comments as far as please call off the humans. Oh, by the way, if you guys notice in the thumbnails, I'm trying my damnedest to make sure I use the phrase that's on the thumbnails every single time. So it might be something, read the thumbnail and be like, oh, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? You know, it's kind of a hat tip type of thing. Let me know if it's worth something. If it's stupid, I won't do it again. All right. On to the series that is going on right now, the other one that comes out every week, Something Familiar. And that title actually has a lot more to do with the story if you're listening really close. Just remember, it's coming out once a week. Mostly, if I can, I'm going to post it on a Saturday to come out Sunday morning. Usually Sundays are my busy day because we have family here. We got the brand new grill. It is what it is. So a lot of times Sundays, I just can't do a lot of work. If I can, I'll have something out Monday morning, but it's going to be rare. It's going to be very rare. And FYI, if you're wondering why the drop schedule was so weird this week, it's just because the holiday had me all fucked up. Pure and simple. I could not get everything finished over the holiday, and I was backed up, and I don't mean backed up like I gotta take a shit. I mean backed up as in the work. All right. Somebody actually put in the comment section, did he just summon a succubus? All I can say, he did. He did summon a succubus. I thought I saw one too. Anyways, and the thing is that if you wonder why, remember the character was freaking out like, why are they offering so much money? Basically, they're offering me enough money to go buy a freaking mansion for this child that I'm holding now. What the fuck? Well, given her actual breed, her actual species, yeah, that's going to be something there. And somebody actually brought up, why don't the parents have familiars too? That will be addressed, if not this week, the next week. Most likely this week, I'm going to get into it. Like I said, I'm only, a page, one and not even a half pages in. And the last one I did was what is that, like 10, 14 pages. It's going to take a while, folks. But yes, a lot of detail. A lot of detail. And by the way, it's not just a fantasy. If you notice, they use things like 0 point energy. They're not actually trying to light fires to cook their food or anything. They actually flick a switch and turn a light on. It's more of a steampunkish, which I'm gonna go into a little bit more again in this next chapter. It's a lot of details to go over. But if there's anything that confuses you, please let me know. Please, 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 so I can unfuck it. I can't fix it if I don't know it's there. All right. Someone, I won't mention who it might be, was thinking that during a summons, somebody might grab a black and blue dragon. I'm wondering if this black dragon with blue highlights might end up getting a couple Konsunes also summoned along with him. You only can summon one at a time, right? Any more would kill you. That's why they only do one. Actually, I don't think I got into that yet, but therein lies the rub on that one. Not to say there might not be a black and blue dragon. FYI, I gotta nerf him down a little bit. You turned him into Dragon Jesus, for crying out loud. So I kind of gotta nerf him to make the story right. But yes, there might be hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. All right. Somebody mentioned the Scarlet Witch. When I named the character Scarlet, she's honestly, I wasn't even thinking that character. You know who I was thinking of? Scarlet from G.I. Joe, who had the long red hair. Okay, that's why she got the name. It is what it is. I was looking for something that wasn't anything simple like Rose. I wanted something with a little bit more sound, like it has a little more class to it. So, yeah, as I just wanted to put that out. It's a good reference. Could she possibly have some powers? I wonder. She's a fucking demon. So yeah. Also, the last comment on this one is: did Scarlet grow larger? No, she did not. That's that's details that are gonna come out in the next chapter. There's a lot to go out in the beginning to try and set a baseline, and I can go into more detail later. That is going to be worked on. But even though she's an infant, you got to remember she's not human, so she's going to be a bit stronger. Demons in particular are strong for one reason, and this is something only a few of the fantasy, either animes or mangas or actual stories, like book-long stories ever talk about. It's the fact that most demons from the quote-unquote demon realm are strong because they absolutely have to be. They're strong because resources are extremely limited, and if you're not strong, you're not going to be able to protect those resources, and you're going to most likely starve. That's what's all that about. You have to fight for clean water, you have to fight for the limited food, you have to fight for anything that's going to heal you or anything like that. And the best way to actually have that strength is to create a type of magic. And that magic is going to make you stronger than everybody else, which means the one with the strongest magic is going to be the one with the most resources, i.e. the richest, which also means they're going to be the demon lord. Gotta love cause and effect, people. It's just the way it goes. Whew. So, but still, she is a succubus, so let's just hope we're not having people going as a infant is walking by. Remember, every single one of the summons is a day one born infant, regardless of the species, which is why the character was like, I hear another bull calf, because calves, when they come out, if you've ever been on a farm, they give a very, very distinct kind of, it's real strange. It doesn't quite sound like a moo. It just sounds weird. It honestly sounds kind of like a party favor blown by a drunk guy who's just like halfway there, like halfway across his lips. And that's just the way it is. But that pretty much ends my notes. By the way, the winner, and yes, they will be coming out tomorrow, for the last video was Alan Williams. If you are in the comments, I don't see you. But yeah, you came in first, this one. So before I jump up into the chats, I want to give another thank you to Sir, Erica, Demon, and MTF Guard. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. Very much appreciated. You honestly, you know what you're going to end up buying? You're going to buy my new microphone and my new headset that I'm going to need for this wonderful piece of equipment here that's currently plugged in, so I can't lift it too much. That was sent. And again, I've done some research on this, and these Roadcasters are the best out there for anybody doing podcasts, because whoever designed it knew what in the fuck they were doing. So let me get somewhat organized here. Okay, didn't mean to throw that far. And I'm going to go up into the comment section where I see, yep, there's Sir, there's Guard, there's Demon, there's Erica, and everyone's saying hello as they came back. And guys, again, I do apologize for the wrong channel shit. I don't know how to fix that. I tried. God help me, I tried. And I'm going to, if I can't get it fixed, I'm going to have to contact StreamYards and tell them to go screw themselves. Which sucks, because I wanted more visuals, guys. I wanted more visuals, and I want to be able to throw a couple of videos on here. I want to be able to throw up videos from like when I was in the service, cut them down, obviously, so they're only like a minute. But, I'm sure you'd like to see what an actual grenade looks like when it blows up. That might be something. Or, doing some craziness with the Bradleys or some nuts, or, I don't know, maybe a bunch of us who had some grenade simulators who might have allegedly set them off inside an ammo can, and turned out, if you do the math, it was about 3/4 of a stick of dynamite that went off. And yes, it's the stupid things that infantry guys do, stuff like that. I wanted to show you, but I can't do that on YouTube because it doesn't work. None of that works on this platform, and it ticks me off to no end. Let's see. There's Douglas saying, "Hey guys, how you doing? I hope everyone's doing well. And how you doing, Sin? I am doing okay. I'm not doing bad. I'm not doing great. I'm doing okay. And for some reason, my tripod just kind of went on me. Okay." He says, "Been waiting for yours to show up." Yeah, like I said, it was the StreamYards. I was trying, and I have to say that because we have a $5 super chat. And let me write this down. And he says, "Percussive maintenance works on notebooks. A fact." Yeah, you saw me chuck that one. Let me write you down here. I'm still waiting. I didn't go on the Discord or anything, Joseph, but if you have anything in particular you want as a thumb or a picture when you get a call, like any general stuff, like, a Navy guy or certain vehicles or whatever it might be, you got to let me know. Just throw it in the regular chat. You don't even have to send a super chat. Just let me know, and I'll put a note here for you. Just like a certain person, I won't mention who, wanted yogurt from Spaceballs, which he gets every once in a while. So thank you again, Joseph. Very much appreciated. And I am going to scroll back up here. And there's a Sir. Not feeling good today. Well, that's fucking blows. Here, I was hoping you're doing better. Tell you what, everybody, if you can, raise a glass to the Sir's health. Let's hope you're doing better. And, power of everybody's thoughts together. Let's hope it helps out a little bit, Sir. I do recommend one thing, though, Sir. If you have the ability to, get out and about every once in a while and just lean up against a tree, preferably with your bare back, or just like lean up to one with your arm on it. And a lot of people are swearing that the grounding from doing that to a tree works. Now, I'm sure you wouldn't mind getting your hands on a nice piece of ash, but, any type of maple or oak or anything will work just fine. But see if that helps any. I don't know. For right now, it might just be gobbledygook, but it's all I got at this moment. Let's see. Chris here said, hello, just checking in on an unplanned date with a lawyer lady out of my league. You're dating a lawyer? Oh boy. Be very careful. You are currently tap dancing through a minefield. So, yeah, just remember, they know the law much better than you do, unless you're a lawyer yourself. Let's see. Demon says, hey, sir, we appreciate you being here. Do not push yourself too much, although push yourself a little bit. Always do just a little bit. I give my dad shit about this all the time. You got to push a little bit. Why? If you don't, you're going to slow down too much. And like the man says, if you slow down, you go down. At least get yourself up and moving a little bit. Douglas here says, found out what type of brain cancer my cousin has, and I'm going to mispronounce this, glioma. Why does that sound familiar? For some reason, it rings a bell, and I don't know why. Look, the only thing I know about brain cancer is the fact that they found the cure for it. They know what it is. It's simple. A couple parts per million of syphilis. They jab it right into the actual mass, and then they just keep giving you a friggin' CAT scan every, I think it's week or 2 weeks. They go in there, and you're not in there long. They just have to slice right there, zap through once or twice just to see if it's still there. And once it's gone, here's some pills, here's a couple shots in the ass, and hopefully not a finger up there, and you're good to go. But you know what? Again, these doctors get paid off you being sick. So, which, by the way, I'm actually have to put that pen down because I was so angry just thinking about that. I was about to break my goddamn pen. The fact that there's people out there who are supposed to be taking care of folks and all they give a shit about is their own goddamn wallet, fuck them up the ass with a telephone pole covered in concertina wire while it's lit on fire. Ugh. You set people up for success, not for failure. What the hell, man? Sorry, guys. I know I'm getting a little graphic, but it annoys me. It annoys me to no end. When I found out that the medicine we're supposed to be getting has been so watered down by the time it gets to the civilian market, it's not worth nothing. And then we're finding out that actual technologies that can heal us are being suppressed. It's just, hell, I was just talking about frequencies with somebody else maybe 2 days ago. And no kidding. He said, well, maybe that can help people with, who are mentally deficient. I said, wrong technology. He paused and looked at me. So what do you mean wrong technology? He goes, no, that's the stem cell research. Literally will actually jab that up into your brain. It's one shot. He's like, what, really? I'm like, yeah, the younger you get them, the better. Oh man, I got to look into this. Yeah, no shit. Let's see. And a whole planet flies away off in the distance. That would be hilarious if it wouldn't kill everybody. Because as soon as you start pulling it, you stop the rotation, which means you stop the molten core, which means you stop gravity, which means, yay, fun. Everybody just kind of floats off. There goes your atmosphere, and there goes everybody else. So if they don't suffocate, they freeze to death. So, yeah. Good idea. It would be a funny joke, but as practicality working, it wouldn't. Although that would be, I'm going to have to, I'm going to write that down for a second, Ned. I'm going to say toe planet away. I'm going to put that under ideas. Just as kind of a short story, I might grab that, because this is what I do, guys. When I need a story, if I can't think of one, I go through all these different lives that we've gone through, and I actually pick out some of the ideas you guys send. So, let's see. War Sniper's here. Bite Me is here. Well, ow, something just bit me. Oh, it's you. Okay. Yeah, I'm hoping that whatever they hit with that cancer, Let's just hope it doesn't fricassee their brain. If I come up hot on one of those and they say, "Well, we got to give you all this chemo," I'm going to tell them to pound fucking sand up every single orifice, and they have to. It's going to be followed by my fist because I saw what it did to my aunt. I saw what it did to my grandma. No, just no. I won't go through that. And that's me personally. Don't let me stop anybody from doing anything. It's not my place. I can only give advice. What you do with yourself is on you. Let's see. Demon says, can't invade the planet if the planet is not there. Yep. Actually, there was a really interesting story where the entire human race basically phased all their entire planet, their entire solar system into a different phase of existence. Like you could see everybody moving around, but you would pass through them like they're ghosts. You know, you're not on the same wavelength. It was a pretty interesting one to listen to. Of course, that was almost a year ago I heard that one. And of course, the Guardian Sage is here, greeting mortals and other assorted beings. Let's see. Bite Me says, my mom had I'm going to mispronounce these. Meningioma in her right ear. She's now deaf in that ear. Ugh. Not cool. I'm actually losing the hearing in mine, but it's not from a tumor. It's not a tumor. You know, it's something totally different. It's related to all the times I was around big things that went kabang a lot. Okay, Alan says, Leonid, won't your planet get a very large glacier, like the whole thing? Yeah, again, it was as a joke, man. I'm sure, Leonid, it was. I seriously, that would be a funny comic, little 4 or 5 cell. We're coming to take this planet. Where the fuck is it? And then you see it in the background being towed away by the sun or something. Let's see. Douglas, not sure, but he's in a hospice. Ugh. And he has a seizure. He's unable to communicate or use his cell phone. Dude. We got some serious on us because I've had relatives in hospice care, and I'll tell you what, you have my sympathies on that because I know how much that reaches in, it grabs your heart, twists, and while it's pulling it through your sternum, they kick you in the nuts with steel-toed boots. You don't know what hurts worse. And then they spit in your eye with friggin' alcohol. It's just, yeah. I don't wish that on nobody. Lena said, we could live underground. Wait, you mean on the 7th planet? You could live underground deep inside I can't even say it without breaking up. Ugh, the joke is being killed. I'm using it too much. I'm burning it up. War sniping says, I didn't ask about that. Erica, did you ask about that? Summoning my character. No, that was I didn't write down who put that in the comments, War Sniper, but somebody actually talked about a black and blue dragon. So although I don't know where the light blue would come from, but whatever. Let's see. Douglas says, demons also have a lifespan that transcends millennia. That depends on the story. For the most part, you are correct. However, it really, really depends. Whoever's writing the story will decide how long the actual lifespan of a demon is. It depends on A, the type of demon, 2, the location they're in, 3, how they survive, 4, do they regenerate, do they rejuvenate, do they do anything? Just like I've known, and I'm sure we've all seen stories where elves either live eternally or they only live for maybe 100, 200 years. It really depends on whoever is going on or whoever's writing it. So you are mostly right, Douglas, but you have to have that little caveat there. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying just be careful on that. Lena says, I did watch the Lore Lodge and History unhinged YouTube channels before they drop their videos on Tartaria. There's a lot to unpack with that one, and I really wasn't planning on getting into any Tartaria stuff this time, so all I can say is there's too much evidence for and too much evidence missing. That's all I can really say on that. It makes you question. And that's why I'm hoping for the quantum chip, because then it's going to actually break its way into the archives and actually pull out the real information. War Sniper continues, and he says, Ensign, if you make my very protective as the summoner, if you make him very protective of the summoner and use his 3 core abilities, Barrier Shield, Reflect, and Assimilation, so you can take in someone's attack and learns how to use it and use the element that is connected to the attack. It's possible. I don't know if that's going to fit in the story that I've got already, because if you had something that powerful, you're like, how do I put this? They would already have a slave contract embedded on his soul before he got to the age of 2. Like I mentioned in the initial chapter, dragons are number 1 on the restricted list, must be brought to the royals, and the royals will take total control of them. Only royals are allowed to have them. And if you try to protect a dragon, by the way, you got to remember that when it comes to a dragon, that you actually just get the egg. You get the egg and it hatches right there in front of you. You don't have a lot of control over what happens. Everyone knows what's happening as the dragon is ripping itself out of the egg, which only takes a few seconds. But those knights will be on you like freaking flies on manure, man. They'll just be next thing you know, they're taking it right out of your hand and putting a knife to your neck and saying, you got a choice, man. You either rescind your summoning contract and give it to us willingly, or we're just going to kill you. And if you say nope, they'll turn you into a Pez dispenser, cut that deep. And immediately do something to form a slave contract on that, because that's how in that world the nobility holds on to power. Where did I get the idea? Reincarnation of a bookworm. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then you didn't look at that one that close. Which, by the way, you ever want to see a little girl go to the dark side? Watch that. And I'm not talking about like Tanya the evil dark side. I'm like just someone who has just lost their shit. It's like, okay, I'm going to kill you now. All right. Let's see. Demon jumps in. He says, also depends on how you are created / born, what species you are, how old you are, how much you train and fight. Lots goes into it. And yes, War Sniper, I do know the story, because guess what? It's still in one of my manila folders. It's actually downstairs in the file cabinet right now. If I end up using your character, I got to go down there. I got to pull that sucker out and go to it. And I don't know why my nose itches so much. So give me a second here, guys. That's messed up. All right. Leonid's here, says that summoner story is a bit problematic for me. That's why I don't say anything. I don't know why it's problematic for you. If you could let me know what issues you have on it, perhaps I could fix something. Like, this is one of the reasons I started doing the live streams, guys. So you guys could actually spill out what you like and what you don't like, and I can make something better. Now, if it's an issue because it's first person, if it's slightly fantasy because of the different species, if it's the fact where the character now works, even though he's only 5 years old, I could see that part being problematic. Okay. Pure and simple. I understand that a lot of people have issues with that one. It's just, I thought, at least for the character, that it would work just the way they're set up. But again, if there's something I can fix, let me know. I will see what I can do to fix it. See, Sniper says, other wish sin, if you gone set my dragon character. What? Okay. If you go set my dragon character, I'm interested now how you gonna get full potential out of. I might, like I said, I'm gonna have to nerf him. It's pure and simple. If he's that strong, he's got a control collar around his neck, and he won't be able to show his full potential. It's just, I'm, something just oddly enough, us here, kind of something slammed into my brain, thinking, I might be able to do a little something, something there, but I can't promise anything. Okay. I'm just going to say, I can't promise anything. It might not be until the second saga of this. By the way, there's not going to be a break. There's going to be a distinct point where the summoning story actually will suddenly shift gears. I'm not going to say when it is. You guys will know exactly when it is. Trust me. So let's see. Joseph, snakes or an adder? It's fine. Demon's here. He's laughing. At least you have a date. I haven't been on one in years. Laugh my ass off. All I do is work and sleep. Third shift makes meeting people hard. Well, I guess meeting people hard, but I guess it could make people hard. Anyways, makes you a hard man. Yeah, I can understand it. Look, I haven't been on a date in probably 2 years at least. Like I keep saying to folks, hell, I just used the same joke this morning to a couple old women. They said, "How come you're not married?" I said, "Married? I'm lucky. I can't even get a girl drunk enough to go out with me. You really think I'm married?" And they always give me this strange kind of sad look. But the thing is, usually they'll laugh afterwards. If they don't laugh, I always say, "It's a joke. Relax." But you gotta laugh through life. It's the chill acronym. You use calmness, higher intelligence, levity, and laughter. And if you can do that, you can get through a lot of shit. But yeah, dating nowadays has just become a real pain in the ass. But this isn't a dating channel. I might put that on the actual Crazy Uncle channel, but we'll see how it goes. Let's see. Sir comes in. Thank you. I just got out of the hospital, but I will try to get outside. Okay. Well, yeah, a little sunlight will probably do wonders anyway. Even if it's, just moving on a wheelchair or something, just getting out, enjoy the fresh air, something, because being cooped up inside, we all know it's not good. Guardian Sage, I wonder what kind of lawyer he's dating. My brother was married to a divorce lawyer. He then played stupidly and they got divorced. Oi. Just oi on that one. Oi. I do know someone. I don't know him well. I never did know him well. He was over in another company and he ended up getting married to a divorce lawyer. And everybody in the company said, "Line up. We were going to punch you in the face." And the kicker is just not that she was a lawyer, that she was a divorce lawyer. And honestly, it's like playing paintball against somebody like me who actually teaches people how to hunt folks for a living, or used to. There's always that I don't know. There's always that factor there, and you're not going to be able to. You know what? I'm not going to hit that button because that doesn't work as well. But all I can do is wish them the best. Demon saying, "We like you, bud. We want you to get better. And we worry about you." Most likely talking to Sir. Let's see. Lena says, "Start watch Apocalypse Hotel anime. I have strong suspicions they made Wally anime, but it's in an abandoned hotel." Oi, Chihuahua. I never did get through Wally the first like 3 or 4 times I tried to watch it. No joke. I got maybe 40 minutes into it and I just was like, nope, I'm done. There's not enough alcohol. And eventually a bunch of us got really drunk and we're laughing at the movie the whole time. And I finally got to the end. And by the end, I'm sitting there going, wow, that was a very, very, very childish, dumb movie. But hey, people enjoy it. You enjoy it and go enjoy it. I don't give a shit. Demon saying, yeah, Sage, that was dumb. All right. Let's see. Guard here says, yeah, sorry, I ain't talking as much as I usually am. That's fine. I'm in the middle of playing a match on Rainbow Six Siege.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Something is right because we got Brian Kemp. He's finally here in the comment section. How you doing, Brian? It's nice to see you. And he drops a $20 super chat as he says, still at work, approaching 12 hours, enjoying the stories. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying, and holy shit, another 12 hours of work? Dude, yikes. I mean, seriously, yikes, man. Some of you guys make me worry. I mean, I used to work those type of crazy hours too, but I'm retired now. This is not only something I can do to, bring some pleasure in people's lives, but it's a bit of therapy for me because I finally get a chance to express something that was absolutely crushed into the ground when I was a child. So, yeah. Thank you very much, Brian. Very, very much appreciated. And I appreciate everybody else being here as well. I'm going to scroll back up here to see if I can't find out where in the hell I just left off because I saw him come in and I immediately yanked that sucker down. Let's see. Okay, there's the whole date thing. Let's see. That's Hope Apocalypse Hotel. Let's see. Oh, Guard. Apparently you missed when I started, and I had it. StreamYard's totally fucked up. It totally, 150,000 million% fucked up. Because it wouldn't go on this channel. It went to one of my other channels, and I couldn't get it switched off. But that video you sent with the tank, I actually sent that out. I actually got everybody to see that. It was only 20 seconds when you came around the corner and friggin' put an HE round up someone's nose. Yeah. Nice way to fuck their face in. Anyway, let's see. TBH, things are kind of going hell because two of my teammates refuse to listen. Well, that's normal. That's fair. It's still visual in my mind, perfectly visible. I was playing MechWarrior Online way back in the day. I haven't played it in probably 2 or 3 years. And I'm in a freaking missile boat. For those who don't know, that's just a slang term where almost all your ordnance is just missiles and you're firing off in volleys. You're literally doing a more direct, indirect fire. Well, usually these mechs are big and they're very, very heavy, which means they're very, very slow. My entire team took off. The other team was able to get behind me. I'm literally spun around, walking backwards, trying to fire at these fuckers as fast as I can. I'm sending up flares. I'm sending up UAVs. I get on the push to talk. I'm sitting there like, Mayday, Mayday. Move over to Charlie 4. You guys left me behind. Mayday, Mayday. And then I hear one guy, did he just say Mayday? I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking dying here, you dumbass. Where the hell are you guys? You left me behind. And yeah, needless to say, before any of them showed up, I was scrap metal. And after it was done, I just typed in, it's like, well, you just lost your heaviest mech. You're probably going to lose the match. You know that, right? Send. They did not like that. But they did lose, and they lost really bad, too. So payback's a bitch. So is karma. Anyways, but yeah, sometimes you just get those. Sir is here. He said, I had a brain tumor and it left me partially paralyzed. So I'll do my best. I don't walk so good. Oi, dude. Just dude. Wow. I'm at a loss for words, man. I am. Okay. I lost my mom to a brain tumor. So I hope you don't mind if I move off of this because I'm getting some messed up feelings here. You have my concerns for sure, sir. And Guard's right. It's good to see you're at least still with us. Okay, down here, Guardian says, I wonder how the guards would have reacted if someone had summoned a baby dragon at the same time as the MC summoned his succubus. That wouldn't happen. They can. I don't know if I stated it well enough, but they have to be called up one at a time to operate this, because you're sending in your own. You're literally sending in your own life force. You're using that to actually perform the summoning. And if you understand how to flow power, it's not that hard to do. But you're not actually giving up your life force. You're literally flowing it around. It's going in a circle. It's going down, creating the portal, and coming back into you. It's honestly physics when you look at it a certain way. But yeah, it'd only be one at a time. The only thing that would happen if somebody summoned one of those and they tried to bum rush the kid, you got to be careful. If their parents are there with their own very strong summons as well, you got to remember there's a resonance that happens between the individual and the summons, which is why the MC felt this really strong power at first. And it wasn't until he was getting his ass kicked later that it came back to him. And then he got all this power dumped into his body. He doesn't know how to function with it. He doesn't know how to get himself on the right wavelength at will yet. And I don't want to give too much away, but yeah. Just like when he shook the lady's hand, and she all of a sudden, maybe a few minutes later, started getting all edgy and shit like that. She couldn't figure out why. It's just like any other child. Think of it like a baby snake. A baby snake with venom doesn't know how much to use, so they literally just pump everything. And usually that's why baby snakes are much more dangerous than adults. I mean, it is what it is, but you know, the guy, he's just a kid himself. So but yeah, it would have been an interesting thing to see, but yeah. Let's see. Ernest said, finally here. Hi, everybody. Hey there, Ernest. How you doing? And SSD was, hey. That hurt. I can't do that voice worth of shit. Lena's sitting here and said, do you even need planets? People can live on halo stations that generate their own gravity. It's simulated gravity because it's centripetal force, or centripetal force. Ugh, trying to say that right. But yeah, you're right. The kicker is, if you're using centripetal force to do that, say you're trying to pour some water down, it would always go in another direction ever so slightly. It would never go straight down. Let's see. Demon, it might be possible to move a planet. Yes. If you used the blink FTL, but you would be trapped into certain points with identical conditions or identical conditions to its current position to its sun. Yes. Could you do that? Yes. Would you be fucking around? Would you end up burning up like a burrito when you first entered the other wherever you're going? Yes, because your magnetic field has to build up first. Without the magnetic field, you have no protection from the sun's rays. And yeah, that might sting a bit. He continues, blink or fold, I think. The one that doesn't require a planet to move, it just kind of poofs it to another location. Actually, either one of those does. The kicker with the fold system here, let me use a piece of paper. Now, as we know, a fold system folds reality onto itself. And then it opens up, and you've gone from here on this side, it folds and then unfolds, and you're over here. The kicker is, do you actually physically move at that point? That's the question. Now, if there's even a millimeter of distance to move before you move from one side to the other, that might be almost catastrophic. However, depending on the fold system, it might only just grab you and move you to the other side. It really depends on how that's going to operate. There's a lot of physics involved in that one. That's why I'm hesitant to use fold systems, and I prefer the blink drive, just because it's more of a teleportation than trying to alter the gravitational wavelength of the universe. But could you fold an entire planet? Yes, you could. Could you blink drive an entire planet? Yes, you could. You'd need a Dyson sphere to get that much energy, but yes, you could. Leonid here saying, any new Foxy characters? Well, Leonid, I can't say anything yet because I try to stay away from the spoilers. But everybody here likes the foxy ladies. Speaking of which, I haven't seen the ladies in the chat. I wonder if they're actually listening today. Let's see. Demon says, I don't know the science, but the theory is possible. Yes, it is. Yeah. Again, you're talking a shit ton of energy. I mean, just crazy. Joseph says, fold space event would have to shift the magnetosphere. Yep, like I said, that would be top tier civilization grade. Yeah. Either that or have something that is actually protecting you while the magnetosphere builds up, which honestly will not take more than an hour or two to actually start building up significantly, just because the amount of shit that's going to be coming off the star or whichever local star it is. Warstorm says, well, Sin, that is a good question. Let me think. Originally, it is that is on Ark Survival Evolved. I got an ice dragon that has the same colors as the dragon, so his character came to live originally. Okay. That's interesting. I wouldn't have, well, honestly, somebody with the darker color, I wouldn't think ice dragon, but yeah. Okay. Douglas says, any big invention is promptly shut down by big business. Yep. Just like the kid who's coming out with he turns waste plastic into gasoline or diesel, which oddly enough, when he does this, you get more power out of his plastoline, is what he calls the gas type, or plastodiesel, than you do out of the shit you pump out of the ground. Now, apparently, this technology to do this has been around for a while. It was the manufacturing to make the parts small enough and strong enough to actually handle the process. But what is it? The gas or the water powered car, that guy was killed. We all know Tesla was taken out. What do I see here? I see a Guardian Sage with a $10 super chat. Let me write this down so I don't forget, because that's a big chat. Guardian Sage. And he says, the way you describe it in the first chapter, it sounded like there was a sizable area where several kids performed their summons at the same time, but it took various amounts of time for each kid. Okay, I get it. I'm going to clear this up right now, Guardian, so there's no confusion. Think of it like a high school graduation. They brought all the kids because this is only done certain times a year. Everybody who's going to summon is in that auditorium. But just like when you receive your diploma, you have to be called up one at a time. So perhaps I didn't explain it well enough, so I apologize for that. But that's the way it was. That's why when they actually get their summons, they're actually supposed to go back into the crowd. Some don't, which is why the little Lisa, which you can't call her that anymore because she actually grew up because of the resonance that came from the unicorn. She actually had her unicorn there with her. She wanted to be hanging out with her friends, at least for another day before she gets, yoinked out of there and sent over to be one of the knights or a mage she was going to be a sage or something like that. At least that's what they expected when she actually summoned a freaking unicorn, an actual honest to God horse with a horn. And I don't mean a horny horse. But yeah. Yeah, sorry. I had to fix that one, Guardian. If anybody else was confused, I hope that fixed it for you. The explanation. Hold on. Pinching my nose. All right. And thank you very much, Guardian, Brian, and everybody else. Let me actually find out where I was. Right about here. Let's see. Okay, there's the magnetosphere part. Well, Sin, that's a good question. Let me think originally. It was on okay, that's the Ark Survival Dragon. Okay. Okay, there's the big invention part we were on. Yes, you are right. Even the guy he was like from South Africa or Zimbabwe or whatever. He had found a way to make a 0 point generator about this big, and all you had to do was hook it up to the back of the TV, and the TV runs forever. There's no moving parts. It doesn't make any sound. It just goes. It's very cool, temperature wise, and it's really cool the fact that he can do this. And what they do, they poisoned his ass. They poisoned him so bad the man can barely move. He's lucky he's still breathing, but what the fuck, over? I mean, everybody knew this was going to happen. And when the kid who created the new fuel out of waste plastic, everybody kept sending the same message, dude, watch your back. And somebody went to his car and loosened all 10 lug nuts on the front of his vehicle. Both tires completely loosened. Apparently, his vehicle was wobbling like hell, and he pulled it off, realizing he had one lug nut left, and it was almost off by the time he got to the side of the road. So, yeah, this is the sort of shit. You are absolutely right. Big businesses want to maintain the status quo, which is a total line of bullshit because everything is dynamic and it's supposed to be that way. But no, seriously. I mean, I talk about on this show or on my channel all the time technology that is actually proven. 0 point energy has been proven. For the longest time, they didn't want to say the ether existed. Congratulations. And by the way, I know I used the word generator. I know that's not the right term, but it's what everybody knows. I'm going to leave it at that. Okay. Lena said the 5-year-old does not have the ability to go to work or support the younger brother sister. They are both screwed. Incorrect. When I was about 5-6 years old, my ass was out working all summer, usually mowing grass and raking leaves and picking fruit and all sorts of shit. So yeah. Can they do it? And it was even said in the actual story, it is not uncommon to start working to support your summons or support the family. It's just the way things are in that world. You also got to remember that even back in the day when chimney sweepers were still a thing, it was normal to employ young children because they're small enough to get up and down the chimneys. And it's just the way things are in certain times in certain worlds. Not to mention, there's a little bit of magic that goes along with each summons. And it really depends. Just like I mentioned the guy who got the bull calf, and now he can literally pick up a boulder and break it with his bare hands, and he's only about 10 years old. So yeah, there's a resonance that goes there. So it's just the way the story is, man. And if you notice, there's something going on with the main character, something about memories. I won't put too fine a point on it, but War Sniper continues. He says, but I like the idea of that the blue is given bioluminescent blue light because even in his realm, there's a biome that is bioluminescent. Together with a lake, it's fish that's bioluminescent, so it fits. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That actually makes a lot of sense. Down at the base of the ocean, almost everything is bioluminescent. Let's see. Demon says, yeah, I remember someone made a car in like 2009 or so. It got like 1,000 miles to the gallon and it got banned like everywhere as soon as it was revealed to the world and buried. Yes, actually, that's a type of carburetor. I know for a fact that if you can actually look it up, but if you build it, it's a felony. It's a class 2 felony. Why? Beats the living fuck out of me. All I can say is it would put a major dent in freaking oil price if suddenly you're getting 500 or 1,000 miles to the gallon. And by the way, it was only, I think, 400 miles to the gallon or something like that. You went across the country with like 3 or 4 gallons. It was crazy. But the other guy did that with the gas car too. So there you go. Douglas says, by the way, can never find your crazy uncle channel. Don't worry about it too much right now. I'll pitch that one when I can actually have time to put something on there. I just haven't. I mean, I was literally busy all day today. Let's see. War Sniper says, we both know dragons want to be free. So even on Jung age, he will resist getting flashbacks of his past, this life, being fully against being someone's slave. Well, again, you got the thought processes moving. I don't want to say too much. Demon says, if you're on Discord, I've shared it on there. Okay. Lenin says, I can make Darth Librarian jokes if you want. Why the hell not? Demon says, I can take you, Sin. We all know that's not true. But I can take you. Take me shopping, take me to the movies. What do you want me to do? Hope you take me for a beer. Let's go. Okay, let's see. Worst number says, yes, my father tried to make me his slave, actually trying to break me. Farron and I are the same person. So yeah, I hope there's a part my dragon will break free from it being royally pissed off. And what was the line from the X-Men movies? Sometimes when you cage the beast gets angry. I have a feeling any of those creatures are going to be royally pissed. Let's see. Demon says, technically, if you have the tech to move a planet, you probably have the tech to shield said planet. That is a good point. That is a very good point. Now, the thing is, I have to be very careful about the shielding in the stories because this universal can stop anything shield, but you can still shoot through it from the other side is one of the biggest lines of bullshit I've ever seen. You cannot shoot energy weapons through an energy shield. Either way, it's not going to matter. And if they can figure out exactly what frequency you're using for the shield so that the bolt or beam or whatever goes through it, the opponent's going to figure out what it is. They're going to fire right through that shit too. So, yeah. Don't worry. I won't mention when, but maybe tonight you guys will get a good dose of that one. Okay. Lena's here. Yeah, I do enjoy YouTube Foxu drama. There's Erica. How you doing? Okay. Let's see. Lena says, have you heard the story about aliens crash landing on some guy's backyard in Las Vegas? What? No. I haven't seen the news at all in probably 2 days. I've been going crazy. I've been lucky to get 4 hours of sleep. No, the only thing I heard about was that one in South America is about the size of a basketball that they've been trying to work with, trying to figure out how to slice it open without having the thing go nuclear and explode. Or I should say critical. If that's the right word. Demon says, I used to play Ark Survival, spent almost a year building a massive base compound, and one day after work, I got online and my guild leader gave away everything because he wanted to quit. I never played. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, do you know how many times I've seen a freaking video of some woman think, oh, this would be funny. I'll just erase this guy's character. When that's their main source of income because they're one of these esports folks. One guy was making, I shit you not, over $90,000 a year because he had like 3 or 4 characters that were in like the top 20%. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of time. And she thought it'd be a funny video to go and delete all that shit. I'm like, woman, you're lucky you walked out of that house with all your pieces. You're lucky you walked out of the house, period. Because that guy most likely will lose his house because you thought you'd be funny. Ugh. But yeah, every time if you put that much time in, that much trouble, it's like rebuilding a classic car and then somebody decides, I want to drive it, and they wrap it around a pole. Are you going to rebuild that car? Of course not. You're going to be too pissed off. Demon says, rhinos are unicorns. By biblical standards, 100% absolutely positively true. By this world standards, 150,000% true. It actually says, if you read in the Bible where it says the unicorns did not want to join the ark, and everyone's like, well, where are the unicorns? If you actually read the actual words before they got translated, it actually said rhino or rhinoceros. And a lot of people think rhinos are rhinos are just unicorns that let themselves go. In actuality, most rhinos are considered bicorns because they actually have one horn in the front and another to the back. There's only one or two that actually, or one or two species that have only one horn. But you're right. Rhinos are unicorns by here today, our standards. Let's see. Erica says, I read something like that in 95 from National Enquirer when I was 6. In all seriousness, yes, but the footage makes it look more cryptid, paranormal. Are you talking about the aliens in the backyard? I think I'm missing something. Anyway, Gardasan here says, I love the fact that War Thunder is giving me such easy tasks lately, and getting through the battles past, like one task set me up 3 levels because it was something as simple as play 30 matches as Russia. Okay, why not? I still remember playing Battlefield 2142, and my God, did I piss off the other team. Picture, if you will, you get one character that actually has the explosives, where you set the explosive and pow, remote detonate. Well, you needed almost all of them to take out their tank. So I left the tank alone. I put one on their scout vehicle. I put one on their APC. I put one on their fast moving VTOL, and I put one on their carrier VTOL. And I put those on and I bolted like hell. And I waited till the entire team took their stuff and went off. And I actually typed in surprise, guys, click, boom, and they all exploded. Boy, were they mad. And that almost got me kicked out because the guy who was hosting the game was on that team, and he wanted to do a survey. Hey, let's kick this guy off the server. He must be cheating. I wasn't cheating. I was being very, very sneaky. Although I will say that's a bit of spawn camping. Anyway, Erica the demon. Let's see. Ancient extinct rhinos are unicorns, but then again, so are narwhals. That's yes. There you go. If you guys don't know what a narwhal is, it's the whale usually way up north by the North Pole. That long friggin' actually it does have a curl to it, horn out the front. Usually they're hunted by the local Inuits and killer whales, orcas. Let's see. Demon said, just this morning before I went to bed, I watched Gundam Requiem for Vengeance. For Vengeance. It's 6 episode about Zaku pilots dealing with a Gundam for the first time. Shit was crazy. Was it crazier than usual? Really enjoyed it. Well, good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. You know, there's nothing really wrong with some escapism. I mean, hell, you got this channel. Demon talking to Erica. Now I have Mr. Weeble's Narwhal song stuck in my head. Please do not play that for me because it sounds like something I don't want in my head. Bite Me says that's I'm going to pronounce it, Pogu carburetor. And yes, the one that gets all those miles, you'll see on the inside, it's actually spiraled. That does something with the fuel, and I'm not exactly sure what. I suck at chemistry, guys. I'll freely admit it. I know my basics of chemistry to a point, but I really, truly suck at it. Anyway, that carburetor does work. Some kid found it out by accident, how he could actually hook up with the exhaust, and he did something to the gas tank, and he actually ran a push lawnmower for like 7 or 8 days. No joke. And when he showed the video, he got a knock on the door, and motherfucker. All I could say at that point is, you got in trouble. And I'm sure when the federal government showed up with that warrant, because yes, he got the whole thing on video, I'm sure they were saying something to him.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
That's what they were saying. Okay, let's see. Demon says, oh, love the song. Okay. Let's see. He also said, you can probably set a shield to protect the planet from the new sun when it's moved. Yes, if you, to a point, yes. You got to be careful that whatever type of shielding you're using is not going to disrupt the magnetosphere, because once it's actually built around the planet, you're good. You could drop the shield, you're fine. But if it's diluting the magnetosphere, when you drop the shield because you have to, you're still going to get a lot of junk working its way through. So that might be when everybody has to, go into the back rooms, hide for a while, and you're good. But yes, using both of those in conjunction would work. It's like you say, if there's a will, there's a way. And if you got some crazy fucker who knows what they're doing, there's always a way. Lena says, yeah, I heard about Las Vegas aliens on the paranormal channel with the remote viewer. Also heard about jetpack aliens in Peru. I don't know much about the jetpack aliens, but I do know a lot about the remote viewers. Honestly, if I start next month, if I have enough after I'm done buying everything and taking care of all my bills and, taking care of the taxes and everything, I'm going to probably try and get my hands on the HemiSync tapes and see if I can, look out beyond instead of looking out below. Let's see. Erica says, I was talking about the backyard aliens. Hey, at least it's not backdoor aliens. Then you'd be in trouble. They like to do some probing. I know. Shocker, right? Anyway. Let's see. Ernest has got to go. Hey, good night, Ernest. Everybody's saying bye to you. And that's all the way down on the bottom. We're going to be sticking around for a little bit while because we actually have a fairly large crowd, more than we usually do. By the way, if you guys wouldn't mind, pressing that little thumbs up, I'd appreciate it very much because, well, let's face it. Yeah. Let's see. Demon says, spoilers for the Gundam show. I'm going to stop right there before I even read anything else because I am not going to do spoilers if I can help it. Erica says, if you need stories for the channel, email me. My email address should be, well, I don't know if it's on this one, but it's usually, you can send anything to me you want, Erica. I just have to read it over and make sure it fits the channel. I have to say this because somebody did send me, I do not do rom-coms. I didn't do rom-coms when I did commissioned work. I will not do rom-coms now. Why? They disturb me to no end because almost all these romantic comedies are all about people who are so fucked in the head. It is unbelievable. Oh my God, guys. After I go through these next couple, I'm just going to go over some of the commissioned work I used to do. Fair warning, YouTube might not like what I'm saying and they might freaking kill the stream while doing it. But let me get over here real quick. Joseph says, Jetpack Alien Story is an epic human troll worth reading about. Okay. Demon says, that's one thing I hate in supernatural shows. Guns and tanks and bombs can't hurt you, but a knife will. See, Alan says, always do thumbs up on the shows. Well, thank you. Now, yeah, that's why I had originally wrote it. I lost it. I don't know where the hell it went. I've moved so much since then. I stopped looking for it. I did do a small screenplay where it was a guy was dating this woman. She got kidnapped because she turns out to be connected, but she's like a third removed daughter of the Yakuza. She's not really connected anymore, but they don't know that. They think they can use her as leverage. So because she's so removed, the Yakuza doesn't give a shit. They don't actually go to help. But this guy's like prior service, so he's like loading up his weapons. Well, the the girl's brother finds out. He shows up, and he's like that. What's his nuts there on GI Joe? This sword is all I need. He's all about that. And there's this funny ass scene that I wrote in there where the guy goes in with his freaking AR and just starts blowing everybody away, throws a couple grenades and stuff like that. He even ends up pulling his pistol, and everyone's trying to stab his ass. And he's just like, as soon as he's done, he's looking around. He's like, you know what? Never, ever, ever bring a knife to a gunfight. And then all of a sudden, you just hear the sound of a blade going through someone's chest. He spins around, and somebody was about to bring a friggin' sword onto him, but they now have a sword sticking through their chest, and the sword gets retracted through. The body falls down, and there's his brother-in-law going, "Yes, and never bring a gun to a sword fight." And he just kind of kicks the blood off. And the thing is, when you realize that as the guy's clearing the area, the guy with the sword is up on top, taking off all the snipers and stuff like that, just walking up and taking them down. I still have no idea where in the hell I put that. I don't even remember what I titled it. Let's see. Lena says, pilots already got obsessed about their Gundams. Fair warning. Let's see. War Sniper. I have a fun story, but it's there are between men turned into dragons and a ship turned consuming Azur Lane style. I mean, it could. I still do fantasy on this channel. Not very often, because when people think it's fantasy, a lot of people get turned off. Demon says, no, I mean, there are games and movies and shows that make shit immune to guns, but you can kill it with a stick. Drives me nuts. It drives me nuts too. Continues, kind of like military always dies, but some Joe Schmo off the street never used a gun before. He's unstoppable. Yeah, that actually annoys the crap out of me too. Yeah. Guardians here say, sounds like the Gua'uld personal shield. Only slow-moving objects can get through to reach the user, like a tossed staff weapon or a throwing knife. Yeah, that actually made sense. Actually, you know where they got that? The first Halo book, believe it or not. Well, that and the Duneverse, the books Dune on that. See, main character syndrome. Hey, how you doing? I'm just going to call you MC. Antidote for Narwhal song. Broadfade Sweet Assassin. It's on YouTube. Yeah, there you go. Get that out of your head. Let's see. Joseph says, slow blade versus a shield is a classic space opera trope. It is as much a tribute to the genre for good or for bad. Just like the whole thing about sword fighting. You notice back in the day, everybody had to have this long, prolonged sword fight. When in actuality, most sword fights only lasted a few seconds. It was as soon as you were open, somebody went for the opening, and unless you knew exactly what you're doing, you're getting cut open, and you're most likely going to bleed out on the floor. Let's see. Erica, sometimes game developers are following lore. Yep. A bullet is useless against a vampire, but they can be killed by oak stakes. The thing is, with the whole thing about the stake through the heart, you're not actually using wood. You're not actually you're just trying to pierce the heart. Actually, the Lost Boys, when they did part 2 after so long, the guy actually made that point. He's like, the heart only has to be pierced. It can't be blown up. For some reason, that doesn't work. But if it's pierced, the vampire dies. Lena says, Azur Lane are battle mechs. If you say so. I'm not going to go there. You know how much I'm a Battletech fan. Okay. In Star Wars, you must walk through the shields because the hovercrafts won't go through. Yeah, that's actually, remember what I said about the energy not working together with the magnetosphere? It's the same thing, because the hovercrafts aren't exactly hovering. They're using repulsor lift technology. They're using a different type of energy. Energy is energy, and sometimes energy conflicts with itself or conflicts with other energy. So, yeah. Anyway, let's see. Trying to keep up with you guys here. It wasn't all that easy to do. Now I kind of want to open up the other drink here, but I don't think I'd be able to sleep with that much caffeine going through my veins. That was better than pudding, I guess. So, let's see. Gonna wait for you guys to jump in here if you got anything else to say. The tell you what, guys, commissioned work. There's a reason I don't do commissioned work anymore. The reason being is very simple. Almost all commissioned work has to do with snoo. And you can always tell if it's a man or a woman who wants it because they're usually tropes. They're very much tropes. And it's just, that's why I got away from it. It's also, to me, boring. Just so unbelievably boring. There's no story structure. Half the time, there's no characters or character to the actual story. So it's, I mean, seriously, it's like trying to write things for the hub, you know. Yeah, write something really engaging for a 12-minute video where 11 and a half minutes of that are people bumping uglies. But it has to be engaging. Yeah, no. Guard says, I hate the ones that are all powerful. Hold on. I hate the ones that being powerful is like being completely obliterating armies and taking over kingdom, but then he gets defeated by a 16-year-old with PTSD. Yeah. Sometimes it's not this. Well, depending on the story, if done right, that 16-year-old ends up releasing people that can do the job even better. And then working together end up bringing everybody down. But yeah, you're right. You're right. Just like Gundam X, which still has one of the funniest fucking lines, even though it wasn't translated, where he has the control module in his pouch and he doesn't realize or doesn't remember he has it. He jumps into a Gundam, tries to start up. He's like, oh crap, what do I do? Oh, I remember. And pulls up the control module. If this works, I'll believe in God. Slams it into place. Everything turns on. The little girl opens her eyes. He goes, hey, guess what? I believe in God. It's like, what the fuck? It's just such an honest line. Demon says, the long weekend messed up my sleep pattern. That's what happens when you drink. No, I'm kidding. Let's see. Guard says, because of Being's army, because of being army killed ex-family members or the entire family X amount of years ago, and now a few years of training, his magic's strong enough to take on an entire army. Yeah, that's another trope right there. You're right. I've seen that one come back, and unfortunately, as abhorrent as it is, only one time in one medium have I ever heard anyone say the reality on the ground. When you defeated your enemy and you released all the refugees, you got all those people that are going to come back with a vengeance. And the guy's like, look, we can't feed them. We can't keep them here. It's cruel to just walk them till they die. And the few that remain are going to bring stories of horror and stuff. And everyone's going to turn off. It's easier just to poison the water, poison the wine, and just get it over with. Erica says, anybody got some neck pain relief tip? Oh, not really. Neck pain to me is a constant. No matter what I do, I can't get away from it. So I got nothing that works. Unless you go and get some of the stronger stuff from your doc, then it might work. But I don't recommend that either. Let's see. Lena says, I heard a funny Star Wars joke that Anakin had a better life as a slave than as a Jedi. Yeah, a little bit. I mean, let's face it. When you're stuck with the Order, they control everything about your life. Where you eat, where you sleep, what you do. They have somebody around you 24/7 as a handler so that you can't go on your own and do whatever. Because heaven forbid if you're on your own. Look what happened to Obi-Wan Kenobi when he was on his own as a young one. He ended up screwing some woman who came out to be the queen. Had he just knocked her up like any sane man had done, or something that would actually fit the storyline instead of, the pullout, or maybe he used the force to, get that stuff and go, oh yeah, there it is. Yeah. But still, he, that's one of the things I was actually asked if I could do a what if scenario for Star Wars. They said, what if some fanboy went back and or into the Star Wars universe, and with all the knowledge we have, and talk to the Jedi? Yeah, when you got to narrow this down. There's a lot of factors on that, and I actually put that when they narrowed it down. At least when I was being talked to about it, they said, "What would you do if you yourself?" I'm like, I'm not a Star Wars guy, so it doesn't matter. You yourself go back and you were, say, after a year of the Clone Wars. What would you do? Well, I'd get everybody together. I'd lay all the chips on the table and say, look, Palpatine, you take your people, you get that section. We'll take this section, sign this agreement so we don't have to kill each other. By the way, Obi-Wan, you're going back to Mandalore. You're going to actually bring the Mandalorians back up to strength like they're supposed to. You're going to screw that queen. You're going to impregnate her before she gets to the age of 40. And then Anakin, you're going to go off with your wife and you're going to plow her through, and everyone's going to be all hunky dory because neither side's going to have all their super strong Jedi anymore. And the Sith, they're going to be like, well, we don't have enough to take everybody down. So, hey, let's keep the equilibrium because you're both the two sides of the same coins, or as we like to say in the Army, they're two cheeks of the same ass. Why? Because you put them together, know what? They're both full of shit. And be like, hey, look what's going to happen. You guys keep doing this. You're going to mess up the Uzon Vong, and they're going to come up and kill every single one of you anyway. So let's see. Demon's here talking about his knees and his back. Ugh. Climbing in and out of my lift is hell in the heels. Yeah, I don't think so. Guard says, fun fact, a lot of the Jedi Council in Star Wars, the Clone Wars, hated Anakin's armor because it was based off the old Republic Jedi armor and conflicted with the current Jedi armor. In other words, they didn't like the fact that that he was bringing them back to their roots. That's fairly common. Well, too bad Anakin was not going for it. Commanders who use electro staffs and battle droids. He was not going right after the Sith themselves. That's why he went for that after he lost his hand. Okay. Let's see. Demon says the Jedi could have avoided so many problems if they worked with Anakin instead of constantly pulling him down. That's actually a big part of the story, is the fact that they talked him up so much. You're the chosen one. You're the chosen one. Oh, by the way, we're not going to let you do shit. What? It just makes you just want to go, huh? Things that make you go, what? So anyway, we're already on the Star Wars chat. We're still going here. But I don't see too much in the chat too much more. So we're just going to wait about 30 more seconds. And if nothing else comes up, we're going to end the stream here. We just got another one that says, yeah, Obi-Wan never taught Anakin force healings because he was chasing that Mandalorian queen. Honestly, from what I understand, he wasn't taught force healing because it was considered a forbidden art, which makes zero sense at all. Makes absolutely no sense because honestly, when you look at the Force, it is a very useful tool, which means after good old Sky Schmecker got his friggin' arm chopped off, he should have been able to take the nub, put it back on there, and force heal it. He might have got a really nasty scar, but he would have got his both hands so he could grab his wife. Still. Let's see. Guard says, bro, I remember that the fact that Anakin didn't learn until he was like the final few years as Darth Vader about force healing. Yeah, everybody wanted to control him. And to do that, they had to keep him under ignorance and keep him under tight control. That's why when he lost all his limbs, they used the cheapest piece of shit parts they could. And he was in constant freaking pain. He couldn't focus. So, I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, the whole thing about the Force being able to do anything, when they showed the beginning, when they're like, "Are you brain dead? I'm not going in there with Jedi." They were scared. I can't say I blame them. Somebody you disobey and they friggin' cut you in half with their laser dildo and don't even feel a thing about it. They just turn to the next guy and go, you're going to be the one to listen, or do I have to do that? Yeah, you're right. He could have been the best if they allowed him to learn everything. Honestly, he should have been spending most of his time in the archives. Uh, Lena says it would have been better if Jedi made fun of Anakin that he had visions of his child giving childbirth. Maybe I'm misreading that, but okay. Maybe the fact that his, kids were going to end up making out or something. That would give him nightmares. Let's see. Not to mention the backwards view that love is bad, so he wasn't allowed to be with his love and had to keep it a secret. But quite a few members broke that rule, but tried to enforce it against him. Yes. Yes, the hypocrisy is strong with them. I mean, it's crazy. And honestly, when they showed the sheer hypocrisy and Ahsoka left, that was the final show that her character was actually greater than the Jedi warriors, even greater than the one that originally trained her, which many thought was the best, even though you couldn't see the dude's eyes. Let's see. Guardian Sage says, was the scenario for 1 year before or 1 year after the Clone Wars? Because there's a huge difference between the two and who would be still alive. Yeah, it was 1 year in because that would be how you could get Ahsoka. And since you already know who Ahsoka's true love is actually supposed to be, even though they're never together because the war and plus the Jedi code and this, that, and the other thing, which again is I'm sitting there like, isn't the Force supposed to guide you into this, actually tell you where you're supposed to go? It told her exactly, this is the guy. This is the guy. The Force was telling him, this is her. This is her. These are the two that are supposed to be together. They're not even the same species, but they want to seriously start banging each other together so freaking hard. But they kept getting pulled apart, and that just wasn't right. Let's see. Lena says, "Don't forget his grandchild kissing Palpatine's granddaughter." Yeah, yeah, that would be disturbing as well. Of course, at that time, Palpatine wasn't all all wrinkly and shit, all melty like a piece of friggin' ice cream. Let's see. Erica says, "If I had been a young or a Jedi youngling, I would have been in the archives and libraries." No, actually, you would have been wherever they told you because the Order orders you to go wherever they want. Your life is not yours as a Jedi. The only ones who had life of their own were considered the gray Jedi, like the I forget his name. The guy he always had the yellow stripes across his face. And he was just kind of out there. He almost never showed back up the Jedi temple. If he did, it was just to curse out the council for being stupid. But he was still considered one of the best. But he wouldn't go along with it. Anyways. Let's see. Warsnap says, Sin, I watched the Helldivers versus Star Wars video, and when the Helldivers will discover the Force, they will make a weapon out of it, for sure. On the level the Empire never wanted to, but Super Earth is just kind of like that. Okay, I'll believe that. By the way, when I name ships, I keep trying to think of a mix between Helldivers and Halo, trying to do something. And it just... Can I make a weapon out of this too? They will kick the Empire's. Well, yes and no. They don't do a lot of ship-to-ship combat from what I've seen. Not nearly at the level. However, there is plenty of them, and I'm sure they would adapt. Let's see. Demon says the council could do what it wanted behind closed doors. And that was one of the things. They talk about the Jedi being arrogant. No one was more arrogant than the council. Nobody. And yet they talk shit about everybody else. You know, it's basically, if you weren't strong in the Force, they kick you down to work with rocks. What the fuck? You train all this time and then they say, you're not good enough. Fuck you. Whatever. Alina says, there wasn't much difference between Jedi and Sith. No, they're the same thing. They're literally the same thing. If you had a choice between working with the two, I ask, which would you rather have? One where you disobey them and they slice you in half with a laser dildo and they laugh about it, or the other side where if you refuse to do what they say, they slice you in half with a different color laser dildo and feel absolutely nothing. Which one would you like? Either way, you're cut in half with a laser dildo, or they'll penetrate you with it and twist. Let's see. Erica says, I was always running off to books and fossils as a kid. Good luck to the Jedi for keeping me out where they don't want me. They might actually, if you actually listen to people who read the books real close, the Jedi were far from saints. They actually would kidnap children. Let's see. Guard says, well, if you think that's bad, just wait until you find out in the comics they had an entire prisons of hundreds of Force sensitives that were deemed too dangerous to be let loose in the galaxy. I believe the prisoner count racked up almost 400 people. That's 400 possible Jedi or Sith just thrown into prison because the council deemed them to be too dangerous to let them live free in the galaxy. Fuck those guys in the face with a baseball bat that is covered in sulfuric acid. Demon says, yeah, the Jedi were not the good guys. The only good guys, and I've said this for years, probably decades, the only good guys are those that were not the Force sensitive ones. They were the people just trying to get by in life. Like the clone that said, fuck all this noise. And he went and he married one of the tailheads, blew her back out, had a couple of kids, lived his life as a farmer. Good, honest life. He was a good guy. I couldn't say too much about the rest of them. See, Lena says, it's already a meme that the High Council is on drugs. Yeah. Joseph says, the Sith allowed more freedom going into the older. They gave the kiddo or young person a choice. I'm not sure I know which choice that was, but okay. Leonid, I really don't like let me erase this right. I really don't like pussy fist Mandalorians. Nobody does. Nobody does. Honestly, I could save that entire series and make it just epically good, but they don't want me to. And if anybody heard me describe before what I wanted to do, trust me, there are a lot of nuances there that they would have to do that I guarantee the Disney folks wouldn't want to do. And it would end up taking something really good and turning it into something really bad. Sniper says, I would be a Jedi, but don't use a sword. I would use a kyber crystal powered anti-material rifle. Yokozuna had one. I know I mispronounced that. Let's see. The worst part is that it was Palpatine that showed him, and when Vader said, "What's that?" Palpatine looked him dead in the eyes and said, "You don't know what this is? I thought they taught you this." I could see that. Guard says, or continues, I should say, like the fact that this was one of the few times where Palpatine was generally surprised that the Jedi didn't teach Anakin something that Palpatine, knew was generally a surprise. I could see that. I mean, just like when I was a drill sergeant and I was surprised that people didn't know how to tie shoes. I was just shocked. Shocked. Well, not that shocked. Let's see. Lena here. Did you know that ancient Jedi 3,000 years will brainwash you to the light side? It's a plot of KOTOR. Like the pads? Guard says, like the entire Jedi Council knew how to use Force healing, but they never taught Anakin for like three quarters of the Jedi Knights. The fuck? That's just fucked up. Joseph says, Sith gave a life or death choice. The Jedi simply forced them into re-education camps. Oi. And looks like the sir's got to take off. Well, good to see you've been around, sir. Glad you stayed with us for a while. Let's see. Erica says, also, many of those prisoners were powerful Force users that had their own Force-using cultures that the Jedi didn't like or agree with because they had a Force is one belief. Yeah, they're monocultured. You can't do that. And yes, you're right, Lena. They were doing crimes, war crimes, at least by our standards, war crimes during the Clone Wars. I'm not going to go into that because a lot of people have gone into it. It's a totally different universe, totally different set of rules. Anakin for sure. Yep. All right, guys, we've been going on since 6:30. It's almost 8:30. And honestly, my voice is about to give out. I am trying like hell to keep it going. And I'm using the Force to keep my brain going, or my brain and my throat. So, as much as I'd love to keep this going, guys, I am just completely reaching my limit. And the only thing I could do is chug down this black cherry here. But the problem is that's a lot of acid to go down the throat. And that would not help me at all. And then I would be realizing...
it was at this moment that he knew he fucked up.
Yep. And don't want to be that way. Besides, I still have to finish that story I threw back that way because we have a whole bunch of people that got in. We got Sir, we got Erica, we got Demon, we got Guard, we got Joseph, we got Brian, we got Guardian. If I missed anybody who sent a super chat, you better hurry up and send a message in because I want to make sure I get you all for the week. So before I go, safety brief, lady and gentlemen. If you drink, you don't drive. If you drive, you don't drink. If your buddy wants to drink and drive, feel free to beat their ass. It is a whole lot easier to explain to the cops that you just broke your buddy's nose to make sure they didn't break themselves onto a tree. And then at least you can explain to their wife or husband or whatever it is, yeah, he might need stitches, but at least he's alive. If your little soldier is going in the bush, make sure he wears his poncho. It gets wet in the bush. Well, if you're doing something right. Also, be careful with the heavier intoxicants, folks. I don't recommend them, but if you do work with that stuff, try to do it as safe as possible. Also, we're starting to get a lot more critters on the roads. A lot more. I almost hit a deer this morning. So be careful because pretty soon when you see one deer, there's going to be one right behind it. Also with the squirrels and everything else. So keep that in mind, folks. You do not need to fuck up your vehicle. It's really expensive now to get the damn thing fixed. All right. So on that note, since everybody is saying good night, sleep tight, and eventually they're going to say, oh, damn, it's just working. I swear to God, I'm going to friggin' break this thing sometimes. We'll wait till it goes off because it is exactly what needs to be said, and hopefully I can keep going until that. Usually it takes a few more seconds. But if everybody, like the man said, we'll wake you when you need you, and you guys can wake me too when you need me. So until then, take care, everybody. All right. I want to see you here next week. So keep your head on a swivel. Eat the right foods, drink plenty of water, and for the love of God, get some freaking sleep, will you? This is Syntext, and I'm punching out.